Good fish. Tanker.
This video is brought to you by Liquid Willowcat. Go to liquidwillowcat.com to see their full product lineup.
Today I'm going to be fishing banks and doing a little frogging, trying to find a few fish. And the way I like to power fish these banks is get real close to it with the boat. You can either go into the current or with the current. If you want to work it a little slower, it's good to go into the current. But essentially what I'm trying to do is get my casts as parallel to the shore as I can. That way I'm covering as much water with each cast, keeping it in that hot zone as long as I can. So those fish are going to be holding tight to the bank, generally speaking, especially during, you know, the high sun times of the day. But the kind of banks we're looking for is a moderate current. Generally, if you can get 3 to 4 feet right up against the bank, and the bank has like little inlets, wood, overhanging grass, all those things are going to be real good. Right here we don't really have a bank per se, but as we get down here you'll see there is a bank. But wherever there's an inlet or a break in the bank where you see like a shallow backwater, those fish will hang outside of that as well. That's kind of where we caught that last fish there. I'm just using a paddle tail, a weighted paddle tail, and just reeling it along this bank.
One of my go-to baits for fishing a wide variety of cover types is a large 5-inch paddle tail plastic. You can either Texas rig it or use a weighted hook with a screw lock. In this video, I'm using a Reactions Innovation Skinny Dipper plastic with a 5/0 3/16 ounce weighted hook. Simply screw in the bait and slide the hook up through the plastic. You can make it weedless by pushing the point of the hook back into the plastic. This type of plastic rigging can be used to fish banks, scattered weeds, wood, and rocks. Use a heavier weighted hook to get more depth.
I'm just casting and trying to keep that bait as close to the weed line as possible for as long as possible. It's going to give me my best chance of getting hit. You could also throw a Texas rig and kind of flip a bank like this. This is fairly shallow, so this is probably better served with a fast moving bait. You can just reel along the shore. Maybe a chatterbait or a spinnerbait would work as well. I like using just single hook lures so I can pull it through brush and weeds a lot more efficiently than, say, a crankbait. Later in the evening you might opt for a buzzbait, even just buzzbait right along the shorelines can be very effective as well. Fish. Tank. It's a tank. There we go. Nice fish. Good one. It's awesome bank fish there, guys. This is back in a little creek here, and I got a nice steep bank here with some brush on it. Just cranked that one out of there. Nice fish. Fishing isn't red hot, but catching a few here and there. Fish. Okay. Up along that weed edge up there. Good fish. Tanker. Right on that bank. Nice grassy bank. I'm in 4 feet of water right here. You can see there's a tree there. And crank that nice one out of there. He hit it as soon as it hit the water. I let it start dropping. Awesome. That's what bank fishing's all about. Nice fish like that. See how I got to an outside bend? It's going to be shallower on this side of the river, and then if you look across, you got more of a bank. So now I'm going to switch sides and fish that opposite bank. Try and stay in the deepest part of the channel all the time. And typically the deepest part's going to be the outside bend, or where the current kind of impinges the shoreline. And you can kind of tell just the way the shoreline looks. You can see we got weeds growing up kind of in the water, out in the channel, which would indicate that it's shallower there. And over here we have more of a hard bank, grass going right to the edge of the water, and not really any weeds coming up out of the surface here. So we know this is going to be, or we can assume this is going to be the deeper shoreline. As it got closer to sunset, it was time to start throwing a frog. I find the best topwater action is early in the morning and late in the evenings. What's this? Okay. I don't know if they're worthwhile. There we go. I guess there is some bass in here. That's a good one. He ate it. He ate it. There we go. Nice fish. The only 2 fish I've had in here, I saw them break surface before I casted. There we go. Oh, come on, get out of there. Come on. I feel like this might be a good one. He is wrapped up. And weeds. Not bad. Not a giant. Okay, that's 2 of them out of there. Skinny fish. Not too bad though. There are a few things to consider when selecting a topwater frog for bass. First off, there is a fine balance of durability and softness when it comes to frog plastics. The frog needs to be durable so that it holds up to aggressive hook sets and thrashing fish at the end of your line. On the flip side, the plastic must be soft enough that it collapses when a fish strikes. Another detail to consider is how the hooks lay against the body of the frog. This is critical for making the frog as weedless as possible. If you're like me and you throw into the heaviest of cover, then pay attention to how exposed the hooks are. The hook should lay flat against the body of the frog to make it as weedless as possible. If you aren't fishing in heavy mat, you may opt to bend the hooks out away from the frog body to increase hookup percentages, but remember, you're going to collect more weeds on those hooks. Other details that are important are frog weight, shape, hook sharpness, and the cost of the frog. There's a fish in there, guys. Saw him push water up behind it. See if we can get him to bite here. Giant dog. There's a dogfish. Holy cow. That guy. Mean looking sucker. There you go. These guys like frogs too. Giant dogfish. They're fun, but they're hard to deal with. We'll get them back. That was kind of a classic dogfish bite. I kind of saw him roll under my frog that first cast. Of course, I had to throw it back in there and figure out what exactly it was, because sometimes bass will do that same thing. But we got him. The kind of duckweed I like to look for frogging is exactly what I'm fishing right now. It's got a little bit of flow through it. And then you got mixed weeds that kind of hold up the duckweed into little bunches. And then I'll fish those bunches and catch fish like that. I just paused that thing to explain it and he bit. And I was just about to say I'd like to fish the edges. That frog was sitting right on the edge and he hit. That was classic. The frog bite hasn't been awesome today, but they generally do crank up this time of night. So I'm gonna fish frogs the rest of the night here. Pinned them good. There we go. Nice fish. Get that guy back. You can kind of see these clean edges of this duckweed where the current's building up against it. Those fish will sit on those leading edges and wait for whatever, frogs in this case. As the sun goes down, they'll move away from that cover and be out in the open water. There's a fish. Went after it there. All you have to do is fish along the edges of it or cast into it and then just bring it off the cover, and they're usually sitting there waiting. I guess that last fish goes to whoa, you see that, guys? A fish just went after. Oh my gosh, there's a couple of fish in here. Okay, a couple things happened here. My line was twitching in the water, a fish hit that, and then as I was explaining that to you, one went after my frog. So I'm gonna try and catch this closer fish first. Right on him. Got him. It's a good bass. Here we go, guys. Feisty. Goodness gracious. There's one more in there. We'll get him. Get this guy back. I was just kind of hoping I'd find a group of fish. It looks like I did. So that other fish blew up right in there. Ooh, it landed right on top. It was a bad cast. Generally want to throw it past him and, okay. Ooh, he's on it. Man, we got a school of them in here, guys. There's one exactly where I just caught that one. Oh, did you see that? That was so cool. He came all the way out of the water.
That would be the last fish of the evening. I hope you guys learned a few things that you can use on your next outing chasing largemouth bass on the Mississippi River.
Well, guys, I had an awesome evening on the river. What a beautiful evening. Look at that moon back there. We got some fish on the banks. Look for those banks with a little bit of cover, a nice steep edge, trees, overhanging grass, and use some sort of swim bait, swim jig, spinner bait or chatterbait, and work it parallel to that shoreline. You're not going to get a ton of fish, but the fish you get are going to be decent fish. And when you're frogging, look for clean water with a moderate flow and vertical weeds that are holding up duckweed, just like the stuff that I'm in here right now. Look for stuff like that where there's patches of duckweed, a little bit of flow going right through the duckweed, and keep working, and eventually you're going to come onto a school and catch some great fish. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and maybe even learned something. And until next time, thanks for watching.